Shalom. Shalom and welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. My name is Symmanayah if you're tuning in for the first time. This is In Line, a series of messages with topics that I think are crucial for such a time as this. Is civil unrest brewing? Is it getting worse? Is lawlessness magnifying before our very eyes? Is chaos, economic uncertainty? Are we witnessing a spread of diseases? Is famine over the horizon? I'm not trying to scare you, my brothers and sisters. I merely want to present the realities of things that are unfolding before us that are labeled by many of us as end-time prophecies being fulfilled. In this segment of In Line, these are messages that are in line with contributing towards strengthening a set-apart family, a set-apart nation, consisting of both Hebrews and Gentiles, or the chosen children of Yahuah, and the sojourner that are grafted together as one by Yahusha. With that said, this segment, I want to get into a topic that is important. Well, I could say, every topic I present in my position of belief are important. But something I want to bring to your attention, the word discernment. It has an academic definition, but the discernment, where the buck stops, is when Yahusha, the Spirit of Yahuah, who comes in the name of his word, Yahusha, when he reveals, when he shows us things, that is the ultimate discernment. Things are uncovered. Come with me as I present the case regarding discernment and uncovering. You see, there are those who would say you got to have discernment, and they go by the academic definition. There are those who will say it just to sound intelligent and wise. Next time someone mentions having discernment or they discern, ask them, what does that mean? And if they take you to the dictionary, maybe they're missing something. You see, we are to trust in Yahuah with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, and trust him to reveal. But if we trusting the academic definition of discernment, we may find ourselves running into a wall at some point. I challenge brothers and sisters often to ask, what do things written in the scriptures resemble? We serve a living Almighty One through his words that come in Yahusha's name. With these words said, let's dive into some scriptures, my brothers and sisters, for many desire to not listen to an individual and weigh their actions or words. They prefer, just show me the scriptures. And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Man's definition of discernment is the ability to judge well. Well, see, if you just stop there, we may be like Adam and Eve. They made a judgment and ate the fruit, thinking they were judging well. And we know how that story went. Another definition of discernment is perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. Well, that points in the right direction. And as I stated earlier, it's my position that the ultimate display of discernment will bring about uncovering. The person who knows the thoughts of man is the Almighty Father Yahuah. And it is through his word, which comes in Yahusha's name, he will bring uncovering. Beware of those who lean on man's definition and trust in their own minds versus seeking to recognize the voice of Abba Yahuah who comes in Yahusha's name. Consider John 14:25 and 26. John 14:25 and 26 says this, it states this, the words I have spoken to you while still with you, but the helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name. He shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. Sure, there's the literal, and he is speaking to his taught ones. But there's the spiritual, that it goes beyond just him speaking to the taught ones. He's speaking to all the children of Yahuah. And he's letting us know that the Almighty Father sent his word in Yahusha's name. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, there are accounts where we read about Yahusha knowing the thoughts of an individual or people. It is important to remember these words. If Yahuah knows the thoughts, and if he dwells within us, do you not think that he will reveal things to us? Consider first 2 Corinthians 6:16. For it says, what union has the dwelling place of the Almighty One with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Almighty One. That's the Almighty One that said, I shall dwell in them, walk among them, and I shall be their Almighty One, and they shall be my people. I present to you that the Spirit of the Almighty Yahuah, which comes in the name of his word Yahusha, make things known to us. This is the ultimate encounter of discernment and uncovering, when he reveals, when he make known. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, as end times ramp up, we will hunger to be precise in identifying when the Spirit of Yahusha is revealing. Consider Matthew 9:4. It reads, Matthew 9:4 says, and Yahusha, knowing their thoughts, said, why do you think wicked thoughts in your hearts? You see, Yahusha knows their thoughts. So when people saying to you, you don't know me, you can't say anything about me. How you going to talk about me? What you got to say about me? You don't know me. You don't know what I've done. You haven't been in my shoes, or you're not in my shoes. Remember, set apart children of Yahuah, that Yahusha knows their thoughts, and he can reveal the thoughts of others to you. Matthew 12:25 saying, Yahusha knew their thoughts and said to them, every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. People fight, and they think they have secrecy. They think that they have their own individuality, and they forget that we are many members of one body. Come with me to Matthew 10, verse 26. It says, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be made known. Who do you think is making these things known, my brothers and sisters? Luke 8:17 said, whatever is hidden shall be revealed. Whatever is a secret shall be known and come to light. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. I will present processes that could assist with understanding discernment and uncovering. I want to present these words for consideration. Hebrews 4:12 and 13, as we continue. It says, for the word of the Almighty One is living and working and sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through, even through the dividing of being and spirit, and of joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And there is no creature hidden from his sight, but all are naked and laid bare before the eyes of him with whom is our account. You see, Yashar'al, if we believe the scriptures, let's believe all that is said. And if the Spirit of Yahuah dwells in us, it would be wise to recognize that he can reveal things and make things known to us. You see, discernment and uncovering go hand in hand. I'm compelled to believe the first order of service, when the Spirit of Yahusha reveals, is intercessory prayer. When things are revealed, it would be wise to understand what next. What are we supposed to do with what has been shown to us? And I submit to you that we should listen carefully to the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. Examine to make sure it is indeed his voice. Be prayerful. Be mindful of what we've learned and where he has brought us. I want you to listen carefully as I share some experiences I had as it relates to discernment and this uncovering. There was a time when I was fasting and praying often. I had just begun to start fasting and praying often. And one of the things that occurred my brothers and sisters, one of the things that I had experienced I started seeing things, not with my physical eyes, with my spiritual eyes. And I thought that what I saw, other people saw it too. And I said, you see that? And I would explain and expound. I said, you see that? And I thought some of those that were around me that were strong in the spirit saw what I saw. And some people, excuse me a second, some accused me of tripping or being delusional because they couldn't see it. So I explained, I'll give you one example. I saw an earthquake and many people were dying and injured. And chaos was erupting in the area that was in South America. And I described this to a group while in a prayer and Bible study, scriptural study. And I asked them would they pray for the people in South America that was experiencing this earthquake. And they said, sure, we don't see it and we don't know what you're talking about. So at the end of the scripture study, someone said, let's turn on the news. If an earthquake happened, we should see it. And sure enough, they turned on the news and it said an earthquake had taken place in South America. And I was amazed. Then there was another time when I can see, as Yahusha revealed to me, the intent of a person or what a person was going through. And they didn't tell me. It was some things that was revealed to me that they said no one else knew. And I shared it with them. And it got to a point where people started saying that I can discern. I got the gift of discernment. And some people thought that it was a gift that I can just sit there and read people's minds. Not so. I can only reveal what the Spirit of Yahusha showed me. And I learned that sometimes he revealed things to pray for that person, to intercede in prayer for that person may be unaware of what's going on or don't want to talk about it. So discernment is an uncovering, but the first order is to pray, to intercede in prayer and ask the Almighty Father what next. Sometimes it may be just that, just to pray. Sometimes it may require acting and moving forward. Discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. Keep in mind that our bodies, these earthen vessels, will still fight against the Spirit. So we will stumble, and the scriptures inform of us as such. I want to present these words. Come with me to John 4:13 and 14. John 14:13 and 14 says, Yahusha answered and said to him, everyone drinking of this water shall thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water I give him shall certainly never thirst. And the water that I give him shall become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are people teaching and misleading individuals to thinking that the scriptures in the text is the word of Yahuah. That is a lie, it's wrong, it's wicked, and it's erroneous. The scriptures, the text, the black and white that we see has been tampered with. The original scriptures didn't have Jesus and Lord trying to hide the true name of Yahuah in his word, Yahusha. These translations we look at have done all they can to hide the true name of the Almighty Father. And even so, we stumble and we are divided on what to call him. It is through my experience of witnessing my cup running over, witnessing his hand upon me, witnessing the things that he revealed to me that have been proven to be true. It is my experience that calling out Yahuah in the name of Yahusha helps me to understand his response and to respond accordingly as I speak to individuals, as I present messages. Will I stumble and fall at times? Sure I will, O Yashar'al. But let me continue. When it says the Spirit of Yahuah makes the text alive, we must go to the author. So read the scriptures. Don't toss them out. Read the Bible. Don't throw it away. But pray and seek the Spirit to make alive what it means. Then we will learn the difference when the scriptures tell us in one verse to watch over our heart, for it's the sources of life. And there's another verse that says the heart is deceitfully wicked. One speaks of the inward man as the heart, sources of life, and one speaks of the brain, how we are influenced and programmed. You see, there's a scripture that say judge, another say judge not. One talk about judge as Yahuah works through us, in us, to judge. And one is saying don't just judge by what you see with your physical eyes. There's a difference, my brothers and sisters. When we experience discernment and uncovering, that will take us far beyond the letter and the text. Yes, read it, understand the literal, but understand this. In order for what we read to be everlasting and overflowing phenomenon, it will take, and it does take, the Spirit of Yahuah making things alive. Remember, it is stated in John 14:26 that Yahusha will teach us. And I say that teaching comes as he works in us, through us, one towards another, through his chosen pastors, teachers, bishops, priests. Some are obedient, some are not. Pray and seek to discern. When we are able to navigate through the letter and keep the scriptures whole, this is a task that requires discernment. For the Spirit of the Almighty Father, who comes to teach us in Yahusha's name, the name of his word, he will help us to keep the scriptures whole. He will guide us. I am compelled to believe that when you discover contradictions, it requires discernment to sort things out. When teaching and behaviors collide due to contradictions, there's an absence of discernment. In other words, when a person say one thing today, and then tomorrow say something totally opposite, and the two are divided and collide in disagreement with one another, and they cannot explain that mistake, that's a demonstration that they are absent of discerning. You see, when we see something in Scripture that appears to contradict, and the Spirit of Yahusha make known and give us wisdom and understanding so that we can see how they do not contradict, then that is the experience of discerning, his Spirit uncovering the truth so that we can see it. Because in our eagerness, anxiousness, sometimes a lack of patience, or lack of knowledge can result of us missing out on what he is saying to us. When teachings and behaviors collide due to contradiction, there is an absence of discernment. Don't go by just because somebody say I use discernment. Ask them. I say again, and I strongly encourage you, when someone starts slinging the word, ask them what it means. And if they say that the Ruach HaKodesh showed them, ask them what's the name of the Ruach HaKodesh. You see, my brothers, ask them how do they know what was revealed is true. The key is in praying, discerning, believing, and trusting. Sometimes waiting and watching. Beware, my brothers and sisters. Many appear to be confident, but are confidently wrong. The coming days will reveal the unlearned and undiscerning among us. The fruit of Abba Yahuah's discipline will prove these words to be true. It will prove how discernment will be something that we will grow in. You see, soon and very soon, the 144,000 will rise up. Soon and very soon, my brothers and sisters, we will see a great multitude starting to come together. It is important to know just because one wants to experience discernment and uncovering, they may not get what they desire. You see, some people think that just because they want it and seek after it, they're going to get it. But if their intentions are wrong, if they are like one who wants to get something valuable and abuse and use it for their own gain, they may face blindness. Blindness ordered by Abba Yahuah. Come with me to John 12th chapter, 40th verse. John 12:40 reads, He has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart, and turn, and I shall heal them. You can read that whole chapter. You'll see there are those whom Yahuah had blinded. You see, they had the wrong intent. When you have the wrong intent, sometimes you may experience being blinded, cut off from discerning, unable to participate in being able to uncover things that you can't see. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Come with me there. It reads, In whom the mighty one of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, so that the enlightening of the good news of the esteem of Messiah, who is in a likeness of the Almighty One, does not shine on them. It minimizes, it prevents their attempt to abuse what is set apart. There are those who have the wrong intentions, my brothers and sisters, and as a result, become blinded to avoid them abusing what is set apart. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. Remember Hebrews 11:1. And I want to take a moment to read it, my brothers and sisters. Hebrews 11:1. Come with me there before I continue with the slide. For it is important, it is critical, my brothers and sisters, to know that discernment can only happen by belief. Hebrews 11:1 said, And belief is the substance of what is expected, and the proof of what is not seen. There are times I've mentioned things that Yahusha had revealed to me, and there were brothers, and I've had sisters sometimes say, You don't know what you're talking about. That's wrong. You don't know me. You don't know what you're talking about. And I say, after you experience more and more when the Spirit of Yahusha reveals things or the actions of a person, you develop some degree of strength in your belief and trust in him. And remember, it goes on to say in the 6th verse of Hebrews 11th chapter, without belief it's impossible to please him. You see, if we don't believe, if we don't seek to pray without ceasing and learn his voice, if we don't understand the dynamics of learning what is set apart, how do you think we're able to please the Almighty One? And what had transpired in many cases, more than one instance, there have been decades where I've had experiences. Often, it was not some random offshoot guess and I got it right. And I had some people come to me days. I had one person weeks. I had another person, it was 2 years. And I saw this person, we were separated. In other words, that person had moved out the city. And I later saw this person, and this person said, you know, remember back in that day when you was telling me about myself and about something and saying things happened and this is the way I was carrying myself, and I said you didn't know me and you was wrong? 2 years. And this person said, I lied. I didn't know how you was able to see things that I hadn't told anyone. I lied. And I didn't want anybody else to think that you can see things that I kept hidden. And they apologized to me. I've had that happen days, weeks, months, years even. There are some things, and sometimes the Spirit of Yahusha reveals something to you that is anchored. You know that you know without a doubt. You believe it is from him. And you can measure it against the scriptures. With that said, as I gradually come to a close, I want to say this, Yashar'al. When we are mindful of the tools Abba Yahuah uses to bring refinement, we will discover discernment and uncovering ranks high. When it talks about the outward man perishing and the inward man being renewed day by day, we must ask, how does that occur? When it talks about Yahuah writing his laws in our hearts and minds, we must ask, how does that occur? There are many things to learn, much to gain for strengthening and bringing us together in unity. Yashar'al, the 144,000 in great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter, will prove to require unity. And that unity will be a result of us growing in discernment, uncovering the things that we need to see, and uncovering the things that we need to purge or come away from. Read the 12th chapter and discover what is expected as it relates to discipline. The 12th chapter of Hebrews, and I neglected to put that in there. The 12th chapter of Hebrews, my brothers and sisters. And I believe I want to put it in there for permanency's sake. So bear with me. It is something that I miss. The 12th chapter of Hebrews. And ask yourself, what does that mean? What does it look like? You see, my brothers and sisters, discipline, refinement comes from he who is spirit, who manifests his word before us. We must, and we will, grow to discern grow to recognize the presence and the voice of the Almighty Father, to fulfill his promises and to demonstrate the ways and desires of the Almighty Father as we worship and obey, as we improve in how we govern ourselves to one another. Instead of trying to defend and deflect, let us admit what is true and embrace one another in love and forgiveness. And go beyond that. Let us recognize the full power of the blood of the Lamb to cover a multitude of sin by the love that we demonstrate to one another. And we become confident in one another as we discern that desire to do the will of the Almighty Father. There's so much that can be said about discernment, my brothers and sisters. But be encouraged and watch the tools that the Almighty Father used to refine and discipline his children. And watch how he will bring us together closer to one another. And watch how he will fulfill the final exodus and more. And watch how we will have the strength and fortitude to face dying for Yahusha's name, regardless of the pain and the agony that we will face. Pray and watch. There will be living guidance, living orders for moving and navigating through all that we are witnessing. And our days of saying and shouting hallelujah will be many in the days ahead. Trust and believe in him, my brother, my sister, my family. Thank you for listening. My prayer is that you receive some understanding. My prayer is that we come away from saying, my second thought or something told me. Let us examine that conscious thought. Let us vet it and ask ourselves, is that something? Is that thought? Is that following my first mind? Is that the Spirit of Yahusha nudging us, speaking to us, communicating with us? Or is that the wicked one? By study, by prayer, by assembling, by counselors, by leadership, chosen by the Almighty Father that's walking to serve him, we will learn how to come away from saying, something told me, or I should have followed my first mind. Discernment makes a difference. On that note, thank you. Stay tuned, there's much more to come. I end with saying to you, my brother, my sister, my family, be encouraged. Our redemption draws near. Shalum.